So I've managed to get onto the main stand here, which is very kind. It was a guy's watched some of my YouTube videos fixing his Discovery 4, so he's given me a special invite onto the stand, which is really cool. So I'll try and go through some bits. We'll just have a detailed look. I'm not an expert on this car, so I've pretty much only seen it today. So let's just go around and look at some different bits. So it looks like there's, start on this mirror, it looks like there's some indicator built into the mirror here, which is cool. Maybe if I put the hazard lights on, we can look at that later. It's also got the 360-degree camera. So I ought to say this one that we're looking at is the long wheelbase. So this is the Defender 110, and it's got the Adventure Explorer package on it, which has got the ladder and these extras. But let's go around and have a look. So we've started on the mirror there, and I think the wade sensor's underneath as well. And we've probably got welcome lights. There's certainly some holes here that will give it. Be interesting to see whether the welcome light comes on. It might not be on this model, and it'd be interesting to see what logo they project down there. You'll notice this one's got the Snorkel on. It's quite sleek. It doesn't limit the visibility. They've really got that to hug the A-pillar there really nicely. Now, if it hasn't got the Snorkel on, it's got a big air intake here. Now, I'm not sure, because the wading depth is apparently 900 millimeters, and I'm not sure that this comes quite low. We'll look at it later on another one, and I'm not sure that's I wonder if they blank this air vent and it's a dummy and it takes it in the top. Not sure. But with the Snorkel on, that's where it goes. And it's got a nice, that's a nice little gloss black. If I get it right, this top section is gloss black. And there's always a debate as to whether the air intake should point forward or back. But actually that looks just like a mounting cap, and the air intake's at the back. So people say it should be at the front so you get the ram air. And then other people say it should be at the back so that you don't get the dust and dirt. So obviously they've gone for the rear entry. There we go. Right, let's move along. So you'll notice it's got these wheel arches. Now, this is the one, Defender 1. A lot of the ones I've seen at the show here have got nice badges on that say Defender X, and that gives the sort of spec level away. But this one hasn't got that. And it's got the textured finish arches. We'll look at another one later, and it's got the coloured arches, which are smooth. So there we go. Let's have a look. It looks like they've all got the 6-pot calipers, and they look like the video I did the other day. And I suspect it's got the Range Rover L405 or 494 Sport suspension on the front. So I think you better fit the brakes from them onto it. Right, let's have a look what else we've got. Let's move round to the front here. So here we go, there's the front view. Let's have a look. So it's got these pockets here, if I get my finger in the right place. These are the air intakes for the brakes, so they're quite good. They give you air intake into the brakes. There's a fog light mounted here. It's quite discreet. And then it's got this sort of plastic grill effect that they follow through with these round holes. Now, I'm not sure the round holes were anything that was on the old Discovery, on the old Defender, but it looks kind of neat. Underneath there, you've got a fairly standard setup, it looks like. You've got some skid protection here, although it's only plastic. I'm not sure how tough that's going to be. Right. So, the headlights. The headlights are quite interesting. The one I saw, it looks like it's got a plastic. See if the camera's going to adjust for the light. It's struggling. It looks like it should have a plastic cover over the front, but in fact it goes back in, which to me is a little bit odd, because I think that's going to catch a lot of dirt in there, and it's going to be an air trap as well. I can't see the aerodynamics are very good on that. You've got the signature light. You can't see it very well. We'll see it better on another one. And apparently it's got the LED Matrix Headlight, which if you watch a video on that, it's really cool. You can have your main beam on, but if something comes the other way, it just dips locally where the oncoming car is, but illuminates the rest of the vehicle. This is quite good, the checker plate. So the bonnet is a sort of aluminium. Now I'm told the whole car is aluminium, but we're having a bit of a debate at the show here, because I've got a handy little magnet, and if I check here, the bonnet is not magnetic, but the wing you can see there the wing is magnetic, and I've checked the doors as well. The doors and the rear door are magnetic. So we're having a bit of a debate there. You can see there that's magnetic. So right, we continue. So this is an anti-reflective coating. You can get a black bonnet. Now this bit here looks like it's separate, but if I move the bonnet, this is part of the bonnet. The bonnet comes here, and this is the wing separate here. Right, let's have a look what else we've got going on. So on the other side, they've done an air intake, but you can see this one is blocked. It's just the dummy. So for symmetry, the air intake is on the left side, but on the right hand side they've put this vent and grille for symmetry. We've got some mud flaps fitted to this one. Right, the door handles look interesting. Now, I've been told that one option you can get is the activity key, which is a watch, and apparently the new activity key is a wristwatch with a clock on it, and you can put that anywhere on any of the doors and it will unlock the door without needing the key, which is pretty cool. Right, I'm going to move along. We've got someone else looking at it. So the rear doors is cool. Right, now this has got this activity box on. Now I got an interesting thought on the activity box. It looks fairly, I guess we can push this and it opens. Yeah, please, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Now one thing I was looking at was, because you've got the rear spare mounted wheel, we'll move on to it. The spare mounted wheel is cool, but if you can't get to your jack without unloading all your luggage, it loses some of its advantage. So, but yeah, that's quite cool. And on the other side, you've got the ladder. But they've got these plates mounted on the glass, and on the inside it forms a storage unit. I'll show you that. So there we go. So you've got the rear disc brakes, the rear wheels, everything's looking fairly good. If I move round, to the rear lights are quite interesting. So the indicator is in here. The signature lights around the outside of here, and you've got the fog light in reverse in there somewhere. Your lower reflectors down here. On another car, these little panels pop out, and you can get these little hooks that look really good, tow hooks that you can fit in. There are 3 options for the tow bar, and they are going to do the electric tow bar, so that would be cool to see. Let's just have a little look under here. So this rear section here is actually the visible exhaust. You can see it goes across there. It's got a central intake, and it's got this twin exhaust, but it's all sloped, which is good for your sort of approach and descent angle, which is nice. And they've got a sort of subframe underneath. The E-diff is an option, I think, that's on this one, so it can do. There's no doubt that this vehicle is going to be very capable off-road, and I won't go too much into the details of that. There's some badging there that's quite nice. And this is the first edition, and they've really done a neat job on these badges here. And there's the rear door handle, which looks like the other door handle's quite a square. But one concern I've got is if you open let me see if I can open this rear door, is when the rear doors open, I've got concerns. In the UK, right-hand drive, you're going to be in the road when your doors open, so you're not going to want to take it off. Also, you've got no visibility of the rear lights with the door open, so if you're broken down on the motorway and you open the door, on the Discovery 2 they mounted the lights down in the bumper, so I've got real concerns about the rear visibility. So it'd be interesting if someone's got a comment to make on that. Right, if we go in the inside, they've got this nice sort of checker finish on the, so rather than having carpet, it's nice to see the Defender having a nice utilitarian rear panel. Now I could lift that up. Does that lift? No, it doesn't lift up on this one. We'll look at the other one. They've got a handy little bit on the back door where you can open and turn those little catches, and the warning triangles in there, so at least you can get the wheel off. But I'm also got concerns as to where the spare wheel, where the tools are. Because you really want to be able to access your tools quickly, as I was alluding to before. Right, let's take a peek on the inside. So they've got these rear windows in the back, which is quite nice. And then you've got the split seats. Now, there is an option for 7 seats. and you've got some stowage boxes in the back here. Nice to see LED lighting here, and it looks like you've got some switches here, and I expect this blank here is for the deployable tow bar. So that's all. The brake light's nice. They've got a nice sort of LED glow brake light, nicely integrated into this top section here. That's nice. Now, some models I've seen this rear corner here has got checker plate on it, and that's an accessory, which is quite nice. So there's the ladder. Does the ladder drop down? Oh, that's tricky. Yeah, so you can have a little drop down flip out ladder, which is always handy for getting on the roof. I know that in the UK people go watching some country sports, they like to get up on the roof and see. So that's a neat accessory for getting stuff on and off the roof. All right, let me see if we can jump inside. So when you look at the inside, got a lot of exposed metal, which is nice, and that harks back to the sort of Defender where you could see and it follows through. They've got a nice bolted on door card, because you know many door cards, those of you that watch my videos, they all go on with plastic clips, so which over time wear. So it's nice to see this industrial design here. I like that, but yet you've got the comforts of a padded armrest. You've got the tweeter speakers here. So this one's fitted with the Meridian sound system. This is an interesting feature. I don't quite know what the feature of this little protrusion here is. I'll have to ask about that. But you got your door pockets, seats. Not as many way seats as we've got in the Range Rover, but you've certainly got some movability on the seats. And it looks like they've got some sill plates here. You can see the first edition. Right, what have we got on here? We've got a interesting location for the handbrake, so it's got an electronic handbrake. We've got the switch under here. Not sure about the adjustability of the steering wheel, whether that can adjust down. It may be electronic. So the steering wheel is quite basic looking. It's quite plastic and rubbery, but I suspect you could swap this over for an L405. Be interesting to see if you could upgrade that. Again, the seats have got a very sort of, these are nice with this sort of fabricy cloth there. That's quite nice in this sort of striking pattern here. So there's quite a big center console here, massive center console. Now you can get a seat that flips up to give you a third seat in the middle, but this one doesn't have that. It looks like possibly we've got a fridge in this one. There's wireless charging in that. My kids will love that. I'm not sure I've worked that out yet. We've got USB fittings here. One thing I didn't show you in the back, there is actually a 240 volt plug in the back. This is rather interesting. So we've got the gear lever here. So rather than a sort of more conventional gear lever, you've got the automatic. Looks the same as similar to the one in the Sport, but sort of coming out of the dash, which I think is quite ergonomic. We haven't got any power in this one, but this is a full screen. It looks like a big 10.25 inch screen. It's got a big dash. Now, these sort of exposed grab rails you've got here are apparently some cast aluminium magnesium, and they're actually structural and give the whole body a lot of rigidity. And again, we've got a big screen that we can look at in the steering wheel. The rear view mirror is interesting. On some models you can get the rear aerial's got a camera in it, so it can be a mirror, like a glass mirror, but it also can be a screen where you're looking backwards. Right, so that's my introduction to it. Let's have a quick look in the back. In the back you can see they followed that exposed metal on the door design through. You can see the rear seats there. Okay, you got the split seats. So we're going to have a look at some others, but that's the main tour. They've got this sort of bees hive pattern there on the floor mat. So they've got some interesting patterns. I don't know if they've got too many different patterns, because you've got like the circles in the front, you've got the checker plate on the back, You've got the honeycomb there. I remember what the honeycomb there. There's a lot of different patterns going on. I don't know if they couldn't have standardized, but I'm being a bit picky. The controls on the steering wheel are a bit more agricultural than on the Range Rover L405. But I guess again, if you're a builder and you've got dirty hands, you don't really want everything too leathery and too tricky. Right, that's the first introduction. I hope that's given you some inspiration and something to think about on the new Land Rover Defender 110.